Hey everyone, welcome to Over MVP, your number one source for all things Overwatch. My name is Chino and I'm very excited to bring you guys another analysis video. This time it's from Creation Esports King of the Watch series. The game is Fnatic vs K1ck. K1ck is on offense and the map is Watchpoint Gibraltar. So let's begin by looking at the compositions. The first thing that I noticed is that K1ck is running a Widowmaker on offense and they're not running a Mercy. The Widowmaker isn't really terrible in this situation for a couple of reasons. The first being that the first checkpoint on Watchpoint Gibraltar is pretty wide, and they have a pretty solid front line. So the Widowmaker could be a good pick here to help get a couple of quick kills and snowball the lead, especially because that first choke point, that first corner, is sometimes a tricky spot to get past, and having that Widowmaker and creating an early advantage can really help the team get into that alleyway faster and allow them to make a better time. The other reason why the Widowmaker isn't that bad in this situation is because of how good Stefan from Fnatic is on that Pharah. Widowmaker is great at shutting down Pharah, and he is just known for such solid Pharah play that I assume this is the reason why K1ck ran it in this situation. Especially because the rest of the picks on their team aren't very good at dealing with Pharah. They have a Soldier 76, they have a Reaper, they don't really have like a McCree or someone that can put enough sustained damage into the Pharah to punish that pick. Now all that being said, although the Widowmaker does create some advantages for K1ck, I don't like what they have to sacrifice in order to pick one up. Not having a Mercy in this situation just seems like a bad decision in my opinion. And the fact that Morde is on that Mercy from the beginning allows him to charge up his super faster than K1ck does. And that really puts Fnatic at an early advantage and allows them to stop a lot of K1ck's first pushes. Another reason why is because Fnatic is running a composition with Zarya on it. Immediately when you see Zarya on the other team, you can guess how they're going to play. They're going to try and combo those ultimates. Not having a Mercy just seems like a bad decision, and it's something that K1ck really gets punished for. In my opinion, if they wanted to run the Widowmaker on this first checkpoint, they probably should have switched it for something other than the Mercy. So right when the match starts, we see Fnatic's defense holding up very well against K1ck's offensive strategy. They're able to get into the backline with the Reaper, and though the Pharah does go down, the Reaper is able to take out a lot of the squishy targets like the Widowmaker on K1ck's side. And though K1ck is able to get the payload past that first corner, they go down quickly, and ultimately Fnatic wins out in the first trade. This is important because Mercy is able to charge up her super through this first trade, and she's going to have it for the second big fight. K1ck makes some adaptations, and they switch the Widowmaker to a Mercy, which is a good decision, but in my opinion it's kind of too little too late, especially because Morde on Fnatic's side had already charged up that Mercy ultimate, and it really pays off. K1ck goes very aggressive with the D.Va, and she kind of gets caught out of position and has to blow her ultimate in order to not die for free. The Reinhardt, Lucio, and Soldier from K1ck's side try and follow up with their ultimates, but on Fnatic's side, Unfixed shows the versatility of that Zarya ultimate and is able to prevent K1ck from capitalizing too much. Morde also pops her ultimate, and basically Fnatic is able to completely shut down K1ck's push, shut down their super usage, and reset the fight. This is very important because K1ck no longer has their supers, and they're not going to be able to create enough momentum for themselves to push through that tunnel until they're able to pick those up again. So after this happens, K1ck is kind of in an awkward spot. They don't have supers, they don't have pressure, and the payload is in a difficult position to manage. They keep taking these bad fights over and over. They just kind of keep running into the bottom of that alleyway, and they're not really able to get past Fnatic's tough, tanky line of Zarya and Reinhardt. But eventually they do make an interesting change. They switch to Zenyatta from the Mercy. Now again, I think it's a mistake from them to switch off the Mercy. I really would have liked to see maybe Lucio switch to the Zenyatta, but overall the Zenyatta pick really works in this situation. Using that Discord and Harmony Orb, they're able to tank bust. They give the Harmony Orb to the Reaper, he's able to flank, and he pushes the McCree out of the fight and takes out both the Zarya and the Reinhardt in a 2v1 situation. Flanks like Reaper are really powerful with that Harmony Orb, and using that Discord Orb you can really melt through the tank line, and that really pays off for K1ck. They're able to push past that initial choke point of that alleyway, and they're able to get closer to the first objective. After they make this play, they're not really able to capitalize and actually get the payload onto the objective for quite a while. The Zenyatta worked in that situation, but Fnatic adapts and they're ready for the flank. It's not as easy for the Reaper to find a second flank like that, and so the Zenyatta pick really loses its value in the composition. And so what we see is Fnatic is able to push out very far. They're actually able to push all the way back to that initial corner and really take dominance over the match. K1ck is not really able to utilize their ultimates well. They throw down a lot of Reinhardt ults and they don't follow up. Nothing really happens for a while, and time just keeps ticking away. What we see is eventually the Zenyatta switching over to a McCree. Now again, I don't understand why K1ck doesn't pick a Mercy. The McCree, yes, is good. It has a lot of dueling potential, and that's kind of, I think, what they're going for with their composition. They're trying to avoid these big wombo combo fights against the Zarya and those picks, and they're trying to run things like Reaper and McCree and take those individual fights to help them win the game. But it just seems a little bit unorganized in my opinion, and I think that a better strategy would be to have something like a Mercy so they could keep the pressure up, and when they do make plays like the one that they made with Zenyatta and Reaper, they could actually capitalize on it, actually push farther, and keep the pressure going by having that revive. But they don't do it, and it doesn't really work that well for them. Eventually they are able to get some value out of these picks. They throw down a D.Va ultimate to disrupt a fight and break it up into these smaller skirmishes, and they utilize their duelists in a way that works. The McCree takes on a couple of people, the Reaper takes on a couple of people, and we see a huge play from Mystic on Reinhardt where he takes out a number of people with his ultimate, and it allows them to get past that corner and eventually onto the checkpoint. They make it into the shuttle room, and unfortunately for them, this is the perfect situation for Stefan and his Pharah. That room is so spacious and so tall that Pharah is just a very, very good pick and does very well. And for whatever reason, K1ck isn't running a Pharah, so they're not able to do the same thing. They prioritize the Lucio the entire game, but you can see in this clip that though Lucio's ultimate does soak up a lot of the damage from Zarya's ultimate, it doesn't really directly counter it in the same way that Mercy's does, and the team still goes down. This is my question to K1ck. Why not run the Mercy more and be a little bit more flexible with that Lucio pick? They made some very nice plays in some situations, they made some good adaptations, but they weren't able to keep the pressure up because they didn't have that Mercy ultimate to allow them to get instantly back in the fight and really make value out of some of the picks that they got. If they were able to do that, they would have created a lot more advantages for themselves, and they would have been able to utilize the advantages that they did make in a better way to push the payload even farther. Thank you guys so much. My name is Chino. This was another analysis video. I really appreciated your feedback on my last video, and I'd love for some more on this one. Please follow Over MVP on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube for more content.